Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome back to another episode here on European Confessions. The following story that you're going to be listening to, it comes from a message that I received. The translation of that message, it reads like this. Hello, how are you? Can you please post my own story as hidden identity? I went to South Africa in search of better opportunities, but life there was really difficult, especially when you are nothing, as in you do not have any papers. I was working as a security guard. That man that we were working for, he was taking advantage of us since he knew that there was no way we could go and report to him. He used to give us some money, and sometimes he would not give us the money. And that was when I said that it was far much better for me to return back home. But at that time, I was already staying with my girlfriend. She was pregnant. And I grew up as an orphan. And I started saying, if I return back home with my girlfriend, and now that she is pregnant, who is going to accept me? My own mother's relatives, they had told me that they hated me. And they hated my father because my father was never taking care of me. He was already married by the time that my mother died. She died of a heartbreak because of what had happened between her and my father. My father just kicked her out, leaving her without anything. And that was when I thought of going to some traditional healers. I never thought that I'll be the one to believe in spirits or ghosts. I always dismissed those stories as if they were superstition, and I never thought that they were real. But here I am, haunted every day by the woman that I once loved. This is my own story, my story of how I betrayed my own girlfriend. So I grew up and I was being taken care of by my own uncle. He was someone who had a very modest family in Harare, and money was really tight. I wanted at least more life, but as I got older, I saw that the treatment that I was getting, I should just move out. I tried to get a job. I had spoken with this other man who was also from church. That man, he was a mechanic. And this man, he had promised me that if I could work for him without pay, then he was going to be able to teach me how to become a mechanic. Then I can try to start my own small auto shop. And at that time, that was when my uncle came and spoke with that man, and he said that he was not going to allow that man to teach me, for it was more like child labor. It was not like he cared at all for me. It was because he just wanted to use me as his own gardener, since he had fired his own gardener. There was this other time when he had gone with me to this other house there in Borodale. Those people there, it was as if they were living in Europe, enjoying life. And that was when I said, this is the life that I want. And I then came to South Africa. When I came to South Africa, I started hustling and I started working. I was just working as a regular security guard. And then I saw that when you are poor, you can never be able to achieve anything in life. And I told myself that I had to promise myself that I was going to be very rich. And I started staying with my girlfriend at that time. She was someone who was very beautiful, who also came from a very poor background, but at least she had a family that loved her. She promised me that she was going to become my everything. She was different. She loved me with all of her heart, and she trusted me completely. A few months into our relationship, she got pregnant. I was not ready to be a father yet because of the way that I was really poor. But I knew that this was the will of the Lord. So she was happy, so I was happy. And then I kept on doing my own research because I started to consider how I could use my girlfriend and our unborn child, because I had seen on Facebook that when a woman is pregnant, she has a high value when it comes to those sangomas that perform these money-making rituals because of the unborn baby that she will be carrying. I kept on doing that. I am ashamed to admit this now, but back then I saw my girlfriend as an opportunity rather than a woman who was carrying my unborn child, my seed. So there was this other WhatsApp group that I joined. The men in that group, they told me that there was this other very powerful ritualist, and if I could go to that Sangoma there in Zim, then he was going to assist me. And they were even excited when I told them that I was staying with my girlfriend who was pregnant at that time. They said that if they had ever been given that opportunity at the time when they did their own money-making rituals, they could have made more money than they were making. So they gave me the directions, and I was supposed to meet up with this other man in Harare. And I left South Africa, and I left my wife back in South Africa. I lied to her that I wanted to get myself a passport so that I can try to find a better job, since I did not have any documentation. That was what was causing me not to be able to get a good job. She trusted me, but I never revealed my true plans to her. And then when I returned back home, I quickly sent her some money, and I said, this side I have gotten a job. So I was staying at this other house that belonged to an occultist. That was where the rituals were going to take place. And she came to Harare. What she did not know was that I was planning to use her and our unborn baby for my own gain in the rituals. So she came, she was excited. We were staying at the cottage, since I was pretending as if I was the gardener for that man who was an occultist. Then the Sangoma came. When the Sangoma came during the day, I had been given some charms that I was supposed to mix with her food. She told me that she was craving for some fresh chips, so I went and I then bought those fried chips and I mixed them with the charms. And later in the evening around 7, she complained and she said that she was feeling really weak and dizzy. And then she fell fast asleep. When she fell fast asleep, that was when the other men from the WhatsApp group, they came with their big expensive cars. I felt so small. We then lifted my wife and then we brought her into the big mansion. We then went with her upstairs into this other room where it was empty. I just saw that there was a table and an altar. We then placed my wife on that altar. Then the rituals, they started. When the rituals were being done, then I was told that I had to cut and to trim her fingernails. And later on, after she would have passed away, I was told that I had to go to the mortuary. I had to remove one of her nail. This I had to do. So a few weeks later, she had gone to Mare Musika. On her way back, that was when she died in a car accident. Those guys with their connections and power, they then brought me into the mortuary where she was, as if I was there to see her. But I had gone to the mortuary so that I can remove one of her nail. So what I did was that I was given a pliers, that tool that we use for cutting wire and whatnot. After I had been given that by the Sangoma, I was then told that I had to take one of her finger and I had to physically remove the nail. It was horrific. It was not an easy thing to do, removing her nail. And after that was done, Brother Nashi, I did not feel good at all. Then I returned back home, and all the time I had her nail in my pockets throughout her funeral. That was what I was told to do. Then after she had been buried, then I started making money. When I buried my wife, I thought that the ritual was complete. I believed that, and I finally thought that I would get everything that I wanted, get married again. But that was when the haunting began. It started with small things. Sometimes I'll be in the living room, lying on the couch. Then suddenly the window will be opened. And when I would look, I would not see anyone, until I ended up getting some CCTV cameras at the place where I was renting at that time. Sometimes I would wake up. When I would wake up, I would hear someone that would be talking in the kitchen. When I would walk to the kitchen, I would not see anything. So I tried to ignore everything, until one night when I woke up, my heart was beating really fast. I found her. She was sitting on the edge of the bed. She looked exactly as she did the last time that I saw her. And I saw that she was holding a pliers. She was busy removing all of her fingernails, and it was scary. There was blood everywhere. Throughout the night, she tormented me. after she would have successfully removed off all of her fingernails using that pliers, as painful as I would feel as she would be removing them, then after I would have felt so much pain, I think my body would not handle the pain that she was causing to me. Then I would just collapse and faint. When I would wake up again, I would find myself in bed. The room will be clean, no blood. Then I would see a spirit again. She will come and she will sit on the edge of the bed as if she did not even know that I was in the room with her. Then she will start to remove again her nails on her fingers, and it will be painful when she will be doing that. I then returned back to that Sangoma who gave me some charms. These charms, I carry them wherever I go to, but those charms, they are not even working. My wife, she keeps on haunting me. Dear listeners, right there was a message that was sent to me by one of our dear brother. Strange things indeed, they do happen in this world. Just imagine. Yeah,